So we will now be covering basic algebra worksheets 1 and worksheets 2. So we will just get started right away because worksheet 1 is fairly simple. So for the first question, it's asking you to group all the like terms together. So 3y minus 4y would give us negative y, minus another y gives us negative 2y. Simplify 6a squared by a, and so as I mentioned before, if you're multiplying a squared with a, you get a cubed, and the 6 remains the same. Now it's asking us to factorize 7x plus 14y. If you take a glance, you can notice that the highest common factor would be 7. And so how you'd write that is 7 is outside the bracket. 7x divided by x just gives us x, because we're cancelling the 7's out. And 14y divided by 7 is 2y. So how you can write it is 7 bracket x plus 2y. Now it's asking us to simplify this expression, and first what we need to do is we need to do the multiplication, which gives us negative 2x times 5x gives us negative 10x squared plus 6x Alright, and now we just need to group the like terms together. So 12x squared and negative 10x squared is one. They're like terms, and plus x and plus 6x is another like term. So 12x squared minus 10x squared gives us 2x squared. And x plus 6x just gives us 7x. Alright, now it's asking us to expand, and expansion was covered in the last video. So you just need to multiply the outer term with the inner terms. And so 3x times 2x gives us 6x squared. And 3x times negative 5y gives us minus 15xy. Alright, question 6 is asking us to substitute the pronumerals with numbers, and as I mentioned in 2 videos ago, 3a is just essentially writing something as 3 times a, but we don't want to continuously write the times symbol because it gets a little clunky and complicated. But that is essentially the essence of what 3a means. It's just 3 times a. And so once we know the number, what we can do is we can substitute the number in. And that is how we would write it. And so that just becomes 3 times 3, which is 9. And positive 2 times negative 2 gives us negative 4. Minus 0, which gives us 5. Okay, now we have to simplify the following. So for the first question, or 7a, we can rewrite it with 5x over 5x, and you'll notice we can just cancel those out to make 1 over 1, which just gives us 1. Now, negative 7a minus 8a, those are like terms, so we can simplify them. And the a remains the same, and negative 7 minus 8 is negative 15. So the answer is negative 15a. Second question, the third part can be written out as 16a squared over 8a. And you can just cancel those out. That leaves you with an a and just nothing there. And 16 divided by 8 is 2, so you're just left with 2a over 1, which can be written as 2a. And now D is asking you to minus like terms, and we know these are like terms because both have m cubed on them, and so we just need to change the coefficient. 36 minus 12 is 24. So that is 24m cubed. Alright, question E, you will notice that it's asking you to square all the terms in the brackets. And now, I think this was also mentioned, yep, I did mention this 2 videos ago. Whenever you have something in a bracket and then you have a power that is outside the bracket, it applies to all the individual terms in the bracket. So essentially what this is asking you to do is write it out like this. All of them get squared. And so that can be simplified to 4 squared is 16, a squared, b squared, c squared. Alright, now question F is asking you to do the same thing, and then it wants you to multiply. And so -3 squared is just 9, and a squared is just a squared, times 2a. So first, as I mentioned, a squared times another a makes it a cubed, and 9 times 2 is 18. Alright, question 8 is just asking you to factorize. And if you notice, if you look at the expression, you'll notice that x is the highest common factor. And so what you need to do is write x outside the bracket. X, y divided by x. You can just cancel the x out, leaves you with y. And -5x divided by x is just -5. So that becomes x bracket y minus 5. Alright, question 9 is just asking you to expand and simplify. So first we need to expand the brackets, and then we need to minus or add all the like terms together. Alright, so first you're just multiplying the outside terms with the inside ones, and be wary that the second outside term is a -3. So 5 times x is 5x, 5 times 2 is 10, -3 times x is -3x, -3 times 1 is -3, and then you just have to group the like terms together. So 5x and -3x is their like terms, and plus 10 plus 3 is, minus 3 is a like term. So 5x minus 2x is, 3x is 2x, and 10 minus 3 is plus positive 7. Alright, and now we have b. So once again, you need to expand first and then group the like terms together. So 3 times a is 3a, 3 times -4 is -12, positive 4 times a is plus 4a, and 4 times 2b is positive 8b. And now you just want to group all the like terms together. You'll notice there's only one pair of like terms, which is 3a and positive or plus 4a. -12 is on its own, and so is 8b. And so 3a plus 4a is 7a. And because you want to have the constant at the end, the constant just refers to a number that doesn't have a pronumeral or a letter attached to it. Typically, we want the constant to be at the very end. And so we will write 8b and then minus 12. And that is your answer. Okay, moving on to part... Moving on to part 2 of worksheet 1. Let's start off with question 1. So you may notice that it asks you to first expand and then simplify, or add all the like terms together. And so you'll notice that because there's no number, as we mentioned above, you just need to assume that there's a 1 there. And so that just becomes -1, and if we expand it, we get the 3x is left alone. -1 times 1 is -1. -1 times -x is positive x. And if we group the like terms together, 3x plus x is 4x minus 1, which is D. Alright, question 2 again asks us to expand, and so -2 times 3b is -6b, and -2 times -a is positive 2a. And because they want the a to be at the front of the expression, we can just arrange it and it'll just give us 2a minus 6b, which gives us answer A. Alright, now question 3 is once again expanding and then simplifying. So 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 4x plus 11, because these are like terms, which gives us option C. Alright, now to simplify question 4, the 3a is left alone, and once again we need to multiply the -3 with the terms in the brackets. Make sure you take note that it is a negative because of the minus sign. And so -3 times a is -3a, and -3 times 1 is -3, and 3a minus 3a would give us 0, so it's just cancelled out, which just leaves us with -3, and that is option D. Alright, now question 5 says if x equals -1, then -x squared equals. So how they want us to set this out is -1 squared, and you don't do the multiplication first. You don't multiply by negative first. In fact, you have to do the operation or the indices first before you do multiplication. And so -1 squared just gives us 1, and -1 times 1 just gives us -1, which is option B. Alright, now question 6 is asking if x and y are both positive, which of these expressions is always positive? So, are both negative, which of these expressions are always positive? And so we can cancel out a, because if you have, let's say, -1 plus -3, this negative will change the plus into a minus. So it'll always be a negative number because the first x is also negative. So a is out of the equation. Same with C, because if we have -1 times -3, it becomes negative bracket 3, and we know to multiply -1 by 3, which will give us -3. So C is also out of the equation, and so now we're left with B and D. B can also be ruled out because if x is a larger negative number compared to y, even if the two negatives make a positive symbol, the number will still remain negative. So let's say x was -5 and y was -3. Even if it becomes -5 plus 3, it will still be a -2. So it's not always positive, which is what we need to figure out. And so we're left with D, and this is because you're dividing. And when you divide two negatives, regardless of what number they are, they will always become a positive. All right. And now we have given that V equals UAT, and it's basically asking us to find the value of T. So I'll do question 7 here. So V is 11.6 equals 6.5 plus 3.7 times an unknown number, which is T. So first, we can do 11 times 6 minus 6.5 because we want to get rid of the 6.5. So that becomes 6.5 minus 6.5 plus 3.7t. And so 11.6 minus 6.5, those two get cancelled out, and that becomes 5.1. Equals 3.7t. And in order to figure out t, we need to divide 5.1 by 3.7 and do the same here. Sorry. And if you do that through long division, you will get 1.378, but because it wants you to round up to 3 significant figures, that rounds up and that gives you 1.38, which is option C. Alright, question 8 is fairly simple. It's just asking you to group together the like terms. So negative 9x plus x is negative 8x, minus 3x is negative 11x. Option A. Alright, question 9. Which of the following will produce an even number if x is 3? So x squared 3 is 3 squared is 9, so it's not that. That's just 9 plus 2, which is 11, so it's not B. That's 6 plus 1, because it's 2 times 3, which is 7, so it's not that, which leaves us with D. Alright, question 10 is just asking you to expand, so that just becomes 8 squared minus 3a, which is option D. And this is just asking you to group the like terms together. So you have 5x and plus 2x and negative 3y and negative 7y. So 5x plus 2x minus 3y minus 7y. That gives us 7x minus 10y, which is D again. And question 12 is just asking you to simplify and cancel out. So we can cancel the a, and that leaves us with an a there. And then we can cancel that out, which leaves us with 1 and a 2. So that just gives us 1 over 2ab. And the answer would be C.